everybody. Hello, hello. Welcome to today's session. It is part 2 of the Family Wealth Book Club. We'll give people a chance to come on in. Hope all of my members are well tonight and hope all of you have your notebooks ready for today's session. And today is going to be interactive like last week was. So I hope that you don't necessarily have to be camera ready, but I hope that some of you would want to come and speak with us this evening. So we're going to get started in 3 minutes. Don't forget to put your city and state in the chat so we can recognize you. Put your city and state in the chat so we can recognize you. Hope you all are well. Hey, Kansas. Hello. Where's everyone coming from tonight? Tonight's session should be fun. We're going to be applying some stuff. Strong Island. Okay. Everybody, tell us what city and state you're coming from. DMV. Hello, hello. Welcome. California. Hey, Sally. Yes, I did get your information, so I'm going to take a look at it tomorrow. Sally, thank you so much. Everybody put your city and state in the chat. Today's session is going to be interactive. It's all about family wealth and the Family Wealth Book Club, session 2. And actually, as I was putting it together, I was kind of excited. So, definitely going to have some audience participation tonight, hopefully from many of you. So we're going to get started in another couple of minutes. Yes, we are. Don't forget to get your beverage of choice. I made myself some hot tea before I came on tonight. And we're going to get started in 1 more minute. We're going to give people a chance to come on in. And give me a second, everybody. I'll be right back. Okay, everybody. Hello, hello. If you haven't done it already, put your city and state in the chat. We got Philly in the house. We got San Diego as well. Hello, everybody. Tonight's session is going to be fun. It's going to be interactive. We're going to be applying some of the lessons with regards to the Family Book Club. We got Virginia in the house. Antoine, looking forward to chatting with you tomorrow. We are going to get started. Get your beverage of choice, and Chicago's in the house. Glad to see everyone here this evening. All righty then. So let's talk a little bit about family wealth. This is, of course, session 2 based on the Family Wealth book. Put a 1 in the chat if you have the book. Put the 2 in the chat if you do not have the book. Put a 1 in the chat if you have the book. Put a 2 in the chat if you Don't. Okay, so a lot of you have the book. Good. A couple of people don't. If you don't, go to the emails that we send on Monday and Thursday. We have an Amazon link there. It just gives us a couple little a couple little cents for Mr. James Hughes Jr. and Mr. Jeff Bezos, who of course is leaving Amazon, if you all can believe that. So please, for all the people who want to get the book and you want to get it through Amazon, that would help us out as well. So, and then Tawana is not going to be able to join us tonight, so it's just going to be me and all of you. So super excited. I'm just going to send her a sad face. She has a little issue going on at home. So, okay, perfect. So then let's talk a little bit about family wealth here. Just a quick recap. We talked about the 3 forms of capital last week, and we even started talking about it when we started the Family Wealth Challenge last November. There are 3 forms of capital. There's human capital, which are the individuals who make up the family. There's intellectual capital, which is the life experiences of each family member and the skills that each family member has, what the family member knows, who the family member knows, etc. And financial capital, which is the movable and immovable property that the family owns. So the stuff we own, which is not as important. There are 2 that are more important. Let me say this. What are the 2 most important? I'm going to go into the chat here. What are the 2 most important out of these 3? Human, intellectual, or financial? What are the 2 most important? I'll give you all a chance to answer in Zoom. The 2 most important forms of capital. Yeah, Maria got it right. The human and intellectual capital. Yes, good. Y'all remember from the book. Yes, the human and intellectual capital is the most important, or are more important, than the financial. And the reason that the author, James Hughes, says that it's more important than the financial is because if you don't have the people around you who are happy, who are productive, who are living life optimally, who are using their God-given talents in careers that they enjoy and thrive in, who are accessing their networks, who are as a whole family unit whose skills are appreciated, the money doesn't come. The money doesn't come. Oh, Awana, yeah. At first, I was about to say least, so no problem. So yeah, it's human and intellectual that are the 2 most important. And I figured you knew that. I apologize for messing you up like that. So yeah, so if we think about our kids, for example, especially if you have more than 1 kid, sometimes you can't treat 1 kid the way that you treat another. Sometimes your kids are motivated by different things. Some kids, do well with the discipline, and other kids do well with, treats and being able to, go out and live their best life, etc. So it's very important for us to recognize these forms of capital within our families and act accordingly. And then the second thing that we talked about last week was the idea of the copper beech tree metaphor and some of the issues that we'll face. So think of the courage it takes to plant a tree that takes 150 years to mature. No one who plants a tree will ever see it fully grown, meaning that we, as we're getting started today with starting our family banks, building wealth, building legacy, even if you're 2nd generation, you will most likely not see it full grown. According to the book, it takes 100 years or 4 generations to really create true family wealth. The second must invest love and patience to nurture it, meaning the tree, even when hurricanes, ice and snow, pest and fire may come to consume it, while the tree is too young to withstand those hazards. And we talked about some of the things that this metaphor meant, anything from racial inequality, job loss, to um, uh, people marrying the wrong people, and all of a sudden there's a divorce settlement and the money leaves the family, and all sorts of things that can happen within a family as you're growing the family bank that can come to consume the family, and take away the wealth while you're too young to really bounce back easily. And in number three, as it matures, meaning the tree, others will want to cut it down for its wood, meaning, as people inherit money from one generation to the next, that next generation may not have the appreciation for what you spent your life building, or what, or if it's grandkids or great grandkids, the legacy that has gone with that. So these are some of the issues that we have to be aware of. And then last week, we also talked about the family mission statement. And the mission statement, every well-managed business has one. And our families or businesses, it needs a mission statement too. Mr. Hughes, who is the author, says this is the starting point for organizing the family to preserve its wealth. And there's a difference between a vision statement and a mission statement. The vision statement answers why, while the mission statement answers how. We went through last week through some of the questions and thoughts that you want to have with regards to the mission statement. So I would suggest you go back to session 1 if you missed it and take a look at that. But let's move on to session 2 and talk about the bank itself, the family bank. This is mostly from chapters 7 and 8 of the book. So the family bank provides a means for family wealth to be leveraged by making loans available to family members on terms not available commercially. These loans would be considered high risk by commercial bankers, but a low risk to the family. The family's purpose is to take advantage of opportunities brought by individual family members. Loans enable growth of financial wealth while enhancing the intellectual growth of individual members. So I'm going to go and actually read through all of these slides, and then I'm going to open it up to everybody to respond to. Because this is an example of the rich getting richer. This is actually from chapter 8 of the book. And talk about the Rothschilds. Put in the chat if you know how much the Rothschilds as a family is worth. Put in the chat, let's get some guesses. In the meantime, as y'all are putting that in the chat, the ancestor, Mayer Amschel Rothschild, became successful providing private banking services to an aristocratic family in Germany and helped them successfully overcome dislocation caused by the World War. They didn't say world, I think it was World War I based on the sentence, but they didn't really say. Then human capital. Mr. Rothschild had 5 sons, and the author says he didn't mention any daughters, so this was before women's rights and everything, but Rothschild had 5 sons. This was his human capital. He decided to create 5 new banks, one in each of the financial capitals of Europe at the time. Then he created intellectual capital. He loaned each son the initial capital so each of them could lead one of the branches. As further incentive, he charged a lower interest rate and asked for none of the bank's profits. He wanted each son to become individually successful through the success of his own bank. And then financial capital. Each son was required to repay the loans to the family bank so future family borrowers could pursue opportunities. Rothschild provided him with business reports. The sons. The sons provided Rothschild with business reports, and each developed new financial centers for the family. Sharing information gave the Rothschilds a bank of knowledge to use to help one another and gave them a competitive advantage. So, this was, again, an example from the book of how this one person started. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up when, especially when we have open phone lines, is that they stayed within the family business. And I was listening to must have been a YouTube live or something like that. And the woman was talking about the Hispanic community and how the Hispanic community, you see them a lot, for example, in construction. And she used to own a painting company. And she got out of it because when she started the painting company, she was able to hire the Hispanic labor in order to do the painting company. But over the years, the sons of these painters started becoming of legal age and they were officially US citizens. So they were able to then open up their own painting companies, and dad went to work for the sons and their painting companies. And what she was trying to say is that sometimes the best thing for people to do is to go into the family business, because you are able to leverage some of the capital, the intellectual capital from the others within the family. So I'm throwing that out. I'm very interested in hearing other people's thoughts around that. You'll hear family business all the time, and this is one way that family business occurs. And the other thing is, Mayer Rothschild started with one location and then spread to 5 additional locations through his 5 sons. And now let me see if people guess what their net worth is. So you got $1 trillion, you got 400 billion, you got 100 billion. From Investopedia, they said they don't know exactly, but it's about 350 billion. So Michael got it right. Investopedia said it's about that amount of money. One family, $350 billion. But it started with one man serving one family in one location, having 5 sons, and being strategic. And I think this is why I'm so passionate about us within the 10K project, being strategic about the types of businesses that we're starting and the people that we're able to leverage and the things that we're doing. And, Angel Rich, if you were here last night, talked about, instead of us being dispersed among all these different buildings, let's occupy one building. Or, the way I think is let's deal with the leakage and focus on a few industries that we can really dominate. And then from there, we're able to do a function of what the Rothschilds have done. So again, I'm interested in hearing what everyone says when we open up the lines. So let's talk about these business loans. Now, the book had some, I have others, you may have others. This is a chance that all of us will be able to participate in. But from the book, they have some basic rules. The borrower prepares a business plan and a loan application equivalent to that required by a commercial lender. The borrower discusses the project's feasibility with the family bank's board and advisors. When a loan is granted, the borrower provides proper business reports on the investment, and the borrower ultimately repays the loan. Now, this is Cherie. I added in a few others. Collateral is required. And if you remember Colonel Frank Preston and Robert Cook, the original people that started this whole phenomenon with us, they said they got collateral for every loan. So another one, the borrower must put some cash into the business and into the bank. So, your family bank has its own rules, but in my family bank, if you're not putting money in, you can't get money out. So also, if someone's coming to me and they want to start a business and they don't have any skin in the game, if they don't have any money invested in the business itself, I'm a little leery of that. But of course, every family is different. And then number three, if possible, the family bank can report good loan payment history to a credit bureau to help build that business's credit. That was just another thing that I put in. I have no idea how to make that happen, but I thought that that would be a way to benefit the person who is borrowing the money. So there's two types of loans according to the book: a subsidy loan versus an enhancement loan. And we know about the subsidy loans. So the book kind of went into what the subsidy loans were. And I'm like, I don't think we have any issues with knowing what a subsidy loan is. But the subsidy loan is about subsidizing somebody's lifestyle or creating dependence on family members. Whereas an enhancement loan helps the borrower increase their independence and also helps add to the family's intellectual capital. So the question, and I'm going to open it up: what types of loans are enhancement loans? How can we use what the Rothschilds did in our families, in our family businesses? So I'm used to Tawana being here, so by the time she talks, then you all talk. It's a full hour, but I'm going to open up the lines. I want to hear from you. So you can raise your hand. You don't have to be on camera. I'm going to keep this slide up, but raise your hand. I'd like to hear from you. Your thoughts about the types of enhancement loans that are possible, how we can use what the Rothschilds did, or anything we talked about last week. Latrice is saying, Latrice, you want to come up? Can I get you to come up? Are you available? Latrice is saying, I think enhancements would involve any training or licensing. That's true. Why? Because it helps with the intellectual capital. It helps people become independent. I am working right now. Oh, you don't have a microphone. Okay. I'm working right now with a husband and wife couple. I'm writing a business plan for them. They own 3 real estate properties, rental properties outright, and they buy, they fix, and they hold. And they want me to write a business plan for them, a 3-year business plan for them. And I asked the question, the wife hired me and asked a question about her husband. I said, is your husband a licensed contractor, or does he do any contracting work? And she said, he does contracting work. He's not a licensed contractor. So, we can start getting strategic if you are somebody who wants to put real estate in your portfolio in terms of buying and holding, buying and fixing and flipping. Then having certain people in your family, take certain types of training, become general contractors, plumbers, electricians, that can save you a lot of money, that can keep a lot of money in the family, etc. So anybody else wants to come up? I don't want to talk the whole time. Tell me what your thoughts are with regards to this. Oh, I got Felicia. Felicia, you can unmute yourself.
Hello?
Yes, I'm here. Hi.
Hi. When I think of enhancement loan for the family bank, I'm thinking of someone that may be already in business in the family, but needs to maybe get the additional training to get that next contract or to beautify the location that they're in. So they're enhancing the business and them and themselves in reference to the enhancement loan.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. So enhancements can be all sorts of things from certifications to um, even like an 8A certification. So, with the federal government, you're able to get set aside contracts. Or I'm actually considering doing the certification to become a valuation professional. Something came across my desk, an opportunity, and I'm like, that could be a possibility, which could save a lot of money in valuations with some of the stuff that we're doing. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. So, what do you think about the Rothschilds and what that family did, and how we can, take a couple of pages from their book?
I think that was a brilliant idea to definitely have the sons to go out and survey the land. Now, the additional story behind them, I wasn't too keen on it, but that's how they made their money. So it
Hmm.
was good for someone to go out, get the lay of the land in the best districts, excuse me, and to see how they can better the family. So it was a brilliant idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's a brilliant idea, and he leveraged. And look, I know that the author rosied up the story. Don't I'm not an idiot. I don't think any of us are saying that, but it paid off. I mean, a family worth $350 billion. That these people don't have to work like ever. Um,
Right.
and partially because um, he also got them all on the same page, and he may have even raised them to think like that. I don't want to make this political, but even the Trump kids, they're all in the family business. These families that figure out a way to get all of the family doing the same thing. you know they're becoming billionaires.
Right. And I think that's definitely it, to get the kids early so they already have their mind set on what they're going to do to contribute to the family. And I think that's a lot what we as people need to do to make sure that we thrive and survive. And they know with like the pandemic going on, a lot of people aren't able to stay at home. But if you're
Hmm.
set, you can stay at home and get tutors and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So Latrice is saying that would be amazing. Just imagine if even 100 Black families could generate that type of wealth. Well, here's the thing. I think we can if we're strategic with it. Now, do I think we're going to necessarily do it in banking? No. But I do think that we as a people have natural things that we're good at. I will say one thing that we squander, in my opinion, is our athletic ability, partially because we're athletes and not owners. Imagine if we were owners, right? Um, things that we naturally do well. We don't own a lot of our music, a lot of our dances, you know. Um, if we were able to really capitalize and monetize on the things that we were good at, just like I talked about the painting thing, and now if you're able to find a black painter, it's like a rare find, right? But what if we were able to find certain industries where we could dominate? So I'm going to bring Tammy up. Tammy, you can unmute yourself.
Hi, I just had a little bit of a feedback from my experience. I noticed that I was in company of some East Indians, and they were talking about how our Jewish counterparts and how they use education around the world and have their children go into different parts of the world and become educated. So I had a chance to see firsthand, especially with Nigerians and East Indians and their children traveling around the world, getting education anywhere they can to
Mm-hmm,
become lawyers and doctors and engineers. But in
mm-hmm,
the process, once they finish, they now, I know for sure, a lot of Jewish people do it and a lot of Nigerians do it. They set up camp in those countries, finding ways to benefit whatever needs are there start to build a sort of like an economy there for themselves.
mm-hmm.
family. So a lot of times I notice for African Americans, we don't like to travel outside of the country because of the way we're fearing being treated. But we're doing it now more often. I think we're starting to see that it's not as bad as we initially thought. But I also think it's a good thing if our kids can get educated outside of the United States as well.
I agree. Being educated outside the United States, even learning second and third languages early.
Mhm.
I wrote a business plan. I know I always refer to my business plans, but I wrote a business plan for this woman who has an international school in New Jersey. And it's an immersion school where parents could come in and they could take three tracks, French, Spanish, or Mandarin. And when these kids go to school, and it's a preschool, when they go to school, all they speak all day is Mandarin. Like if that's the track they're on, all they speak and by the time they're 5 years old, they're fluent in Mandarin, you know? And a lot of international kids go there, but then you'll have a lot of Wall Street bankers who send their kids to these types of schools too. So we're missing out on so much. Yeah. You have another comment, Tammy?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All righty then. Kim said, let me see this here. I have an enhancement loan. I can talk about how it is structured. Yeah, we'd love to have you, Kim. Let me know if you're able to come up and speak with us. Michael is saying hair care products. Yeah. One of the things that, Dr. Claude talks about, though, is our ability to create businesses for the world. So not just having Black hair care products, but potentially having products that the world could use as well. Obviously, they'd be different from our products, but um, that's possible. Latrice is saying the entertainment industry or even venues for concerts where we're allowed to have them again, or office spaces, doctors' offices, or hospitals even, and sign language too. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, um, anything is possible with regards to real estate, with regards to commercial real estate. And right now, I've been speaking to bankers, and there's a lot of sales and purchases happening with commercial real estate throughout the country. So, yeah. Are there any other industries people can think of? Are there any other industries that people can think of that we as Black people should consider that we could dominate? I was talking to, Maria saying my son wants to open an auto shop, so I suggested the car. You know what? That's a good one. Auto repair. Um, Dr. George Fraser came on and he said, don't just think about building robots, think about repairing them. We could dominate all sorts of repair, refrigerator repair, you can get into various types of construction because that's repairing. Another big one is like handyman services, not like contractors, but just handyman services, things like that. Heating and cooling, Angela, yeah, you're right. I mean, we could dominate those areas. We really could. And people make a lot of money. Funeral homes and cemeteries. Funeral homes make so much money. Interior design, okay. Um, Battery, SharePoint is a company doing battery stations for the future. Cool, Maria. Yeah. And there will be times that those battery stations need to be repaired, need to be built and need to be repaired. So I was thinking of another industry, and all of a sudden I lost it when you said the auto shops. I was talking about handyman services. I know I was talking about that. Latrice is saying, especially with all the electronic vehicles coming out. Yeah, the electric vehicles. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, Raphael, I'm going to allow you to talk here. And Kim, if you're able to talk, let me know, put in the chat, and I will make sure to unmute you as well. Raphael,
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How you doing?
I'm good. So, two thoughts. When you first asked about enhancement loans, I was
Mhm.
thinking you could possibly somebody might have their own house and they could use a loan to maybe like renovate to maybe create an apartment in like the basement or something like that to rent out.
Okay. Yeah. Now the thing is then turning that into an enterprise. So, the interesting thing that, for example, the Rothschilds did is they started with one branch, but then they quickly grew within the next generation to five branches, five different banks. And that's how they got their 350 billion. So, yeah, so we start thinking, normal, and then we get, we grow and grow with each generation. So yeah, it's a great idea.
Right. I was also thinking when you asked about an industry to dominate in.
Hmm.
This might sound strange, but I was thinking warehouse management. Now,
Okay, I don't know that much about it, but yeah. Okay, tell me a little bit more about the industry.
so myself, I work for a publicly traded company that I prefer not to name. If I
Okay.
named it, you'll probably know them. Uh, Actually, this is not. This is a go. Okay, this
Don't
is
no
gonna
no no
probably.
don't say it because we don't know who in the future is going to watch this. So
Right.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
great.
yeah.
Okay. So let's say I started at the bottom as an associate level.
Hmm.
I came to the company because I actually saw that people were getting. They like to promote. At least at the time, they like to promote in house.
Hmm.
So basically, at the bottom level is pretty much unskilled labor, manual
Okay.
labor.
Okay.
So I'm still with the company about 5 years later. So the majority of the employees at the base level are African Americans.
Okay.
But myself and others have moved up in the company, 2 or 3 levels.
Okay.
Now to make good money, actually, some people have gone on to make, like, let's say I started off at 5 years ago at $11 an hour.
Hmm.
Now I'm on salary. I won't say how much, but it's okay. It's okay. But if I go to another company, you get a nice bump.
Okay.
And this is all without formal education in the role. Now you can do like professional certificates. You can take some college classes to even get even better pay.
Hmm.
But even without the college education and stuff, people are making pretty good money in this industry if you move up in the company. Now, I've seen a lot of people that look like us come to this
Hmm.
company that did not want the responsibility, had no intentions of getting promoted. They just came to work, got a check, you know, they leave early. They will leave early on payday so they go home and spend their money, I guess.
Hmm.
People don't want to work so many hours because then they lose their public assistance or the benefits got cut back. So I've
Hmm.
seen the majority of them do not want extra responsibility. They have no intention of moving up. Some people are still here 5 years later, are still at the same position, maybe
Hmm.
getting a 2% raise every year. Now, mind you, if we all come in at the base level, which we already are, and we all move up within the company and get professional certificates and just move throughout the industry, we could be making some good money in this
Then
industry.
how do you become owners?
Hmm. How do you become owner?
Yeah, because the Rothschilds were owners. So we need to figure out how to move from just being employees and the labor to being owners.
That is a good question. Well,
And you don't have to answer it tonight. I mean, that's part of the discussion we'll have with the future meetings we're having.
mhm, mhm.
Yeah, but I will say this. So when people are looking at funding businesses, they do ask the person what kind of industry experience they have. So the fact that you have the industry experience is a huge plus. You know, if you get into management, if you are able to become the person that runs a department, you run the budget, you manage the people, you hire and fire people, etc., that puts you in a place where then you could ultimately become an owner, because you can't leave a job to your
Right.
or you could become an investor. You could become somebody who's on the board of advisors of somebody else's company. Let's say you don't want to start your own, but I'm just curious as to how you can take that and flip it to an ownership position in some sort of way. I don't think that everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur, but I think all of us can be investors, and all of us can figure out how we can own more of things that can give us multiple streams of income.
Right. I think I kind of lost sight of what the end goal of the question was.
Oh, we were talking about enhancement loans, and we were
Right.
talking about the Rothschilds and how we as a people can take the lessons,
Right. I'm
from
sorry.
these
Yeah.
things. Yeah, I mean, don't be sorry.
Okay. I will say though that some of these positions do. It's not exactly what you're saying, but they do offer you equity with some of these jobs. Like for
Okay.
instance, company I work for, I was there before they went public, and they did gift us shares in the company before it went public. Had to wait for
That's
it to vest,
great.
but some of these companies, especially if they're a startup, you
Mhm.
know, like one company reached out to me a couple of weeks ago, wanted me to come over and say they didn't say how much, but they said part of the package would be some type of equity before they go
Mhm.
public.
Yeah, and you may not want to move. You may like a stable job, but maybe again, you could be an advisor, you could be a consultant, you could be on the board, etc. Um, you never know. You never know. Well, thank you so much, Raphael. I'm going to let Kim up. So I'm going to mute you. So, Kim, let's see here. There we go. So, Kim, you can unmute yourself. Hello.
Hey. So yeah, I'm going to keep myself pretty anonymous, but I'm going to talk about, I just did an enhancement loan. So I was hesitating if I should say something, but I really love like telling everybody things so that we all can get ahead together. So I
Yeah.
recently bought a business that I have no personal background in, but it's an industry where there's a lot of opportunity as African Americans to really start to not just take ownership, but really dominate the market. And in structuring my deal, so I sought private capital. And I'll get into a little bit of how it became an enhancement loan. So um, I work with a lot of people who need loans for lots of different things, businesses, real estate, or what have you. And I notice a pattern for Black people that oftentimes the loan structures we get into are extractive. And what I mean by that is we pay higher interest rates as Black people. There's additional points or things or leverage things that are put in, conditions that are put in. And so I've watched this for years and advocated and helped people to get out of them. But in this particular loan for myself, there's a lot at risk. So I ended up doing two things, and I want to share it with the group, because if you don't have a family that has a lot of money and when you don't have a family bank and you can't borrow from the trust, these are strategies that can help you right now. So number one is, when I went to go buy the business from the seller, and you guys had a guest on a few weeks ago that talked about deal structure. So that's one way to look at enhancement, is how you structure your own deals. So when I talked to the seller about buying the business, I ended up creating non-extractive terms with them so that I basically have zero interest for a long period of time, with balloon payments that actually benefit both he and I, but mostly me. And there are people out there that are willing to do those types of deals if you get to the point where you know how to structure deals. right? Then on the other side of it is I had someone in my personal circle who said, look, I know you're the person who's going to take this business to the next level. I've got money sitting around. I'm happy to loan it to you. I said, are you willing to do non-extractive deal? And they're like, and I said, a non-extractive forgivable loan. Okay, so hear me clearly. That's pretty out there. Oftentimes, when you look at forgivable loan structures, they too have a lot of caveats with them, but I wanted to write the deal. So they said, I've never heard of that. I'm willing to try. And so I wrote the deal where it too is 0% interest for a set period of time with no payments. So that way that I can build revenue in the business, regain market share, because oftentimes when you buy an existing business, there's a shift in the market. So you've got to reestablish, build the market share, build capital, build revenue, all the things before I have to start repaying the loan. And so that's an enhancement. And it's also going to give me the leverage to potentially partner and or acquire other businesses along the way to strengthen their portfolio. So I just wanted to offer that. I don't want to overtalk it, but I just wanted to share and see if that was meaningful to anyone and they could use it. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean that's an amazing story. Maybe one day you'll come and do a full hour session for the community. But I think that people hearing stories like yours, Kim, gives them hope and gives them, oh, she can do it, I can do it too. So I really want to thank you for coming on and explaining that. The interesting thing about private deals is they could be structured in any way that the two parties agree to.
Yeah.
The other thing I like is that you bought a business versus starting a business, which David Madison, the SBA lender, said that when you buy a business, you have an 80% chance of success. And most of the time when you start a business, you have an 80% chance of failure. So, and then the final thing you said that I just want to make sure people catch on is that you're also thinking about buying other businesses in order to expand the portfolio, meaning expand the business, expand the number of accounts, et cetera. So that's why within the 10K project, I'm so emphatic about let's not just start businesses, let's buy them too, because of the wealth transfer that's about to happen. So any final words that you have?
Yeah, I think I want to just piggyback on the last thing you said on wealth transfer. Oftentimes we think of wealth transfer as being us generating from zero to something and passing that on to our progenitors and other folks that we love. I want to challenge us, just like I had to challenge myself to say, generational wealth is sometimes going to someone who has wealth and structuring a deal so that they transfer their wealth to you by the deal you structure. And I just want to offer that as a different way of thinking to get a head start in the game instead of trying to engineer things from the ground up.
Yeah, that's a great thing. And again, I'm hoping that you'll be willing and able as we do more and more of these sessions to come and share more, because I would love to see us even do some Harvard case study type of things where we put something, together and say, okay, how could we structure this deal? What could we do, for these things? So thank you so much, Kim. And Maria, so I'm going to bring you on, Maria, and Maria, now try to unmute yourself. So let's see if you're able to unmute yourself, Maria. And while Maria's trying to unmute herself, another area is customer service that we could consider. I was telling Tawana that I have a client who is doing customer service for the cannabis industry. And we heard, the pitch for the dispensaries. However, there's a lot of ancillary businesses within cannabis that, in my opinion, are going to make a lot more money and be more profitable. So Maria, it looks like you can't unmic yourself. So, okay. Felicia's saying truck parking lots. I did a business plan for that. Big money. And I know a woman who is opening up a truck parking lot in Texas. Big, big money if you're able to get into that business. So, Latrice is saying Black-owned bookstores. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how not just bookstores, but education changes over the next few years. So I'm going to let Tammy speak because her hand is raised. So Tammy, you can unmute yourself.
Sorry, that was an error. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Let's see. Latrice is saying, yes, that would be awesome to have a class on structuring guidelines for those types of loans and deals. Yeah, I'll look around. I know a couple of professors and people like that. So I would need to put in a few phone calls and ask a few people. But yes, I think that these types of conversations is what we need to really have. It's, moving to the next level in our understanding of business and of putting these deals together as well. So Angela's saying, what? How does that work? Need a Zoom on that. Well, we'll put something like that together. Latrice is saying homeschooling is becoming popular too. Yes, it is, and it is going to become even more and more popular. I was involved with the business that was focused on STEM education using virtual reality. Very interesting business. But there's all sorts of business models that are out there. And one thing about Black people is we are educators by trade. So my grandmother was a junior high principal, and I love to teach as well. So, the education market, definitely. So Maria, your microphone is
Yes.
on. Yes, hello, my dear.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure to talk to everyone. This has been very interesting. It's only me, and I have a son. So it's not much of a big bank, but as far as I'm looking at it, is that setting up my estate, whereas though he won't be hit with taxes when I leave everything to him.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at what he wants to do, and he's focused on opening up his own auto shop. So looking into the future, the battery cars, GM, all the car industries are becoming battery and leaving behind the gas. So there is a company out there that is setting up, and if you see in different parking lots, you may see one or two plug-in for electric cars, and that's going to be the wave of the future. And Tesla is big on it. Everybody's big on Tesla. So if I even mentioned to him about as far as a gas station, having a station like that for the future, to look towards the future, because that's going to be big.
Yeah.
So, but as far as the family bank, for me, it's just me. I can't convince him to do anything.
Well, how old is he?
He's 31.
Oh, well, look, we never know what's going to happen. Sometimes it's people finding their passion. So, or maybe grandchildren that you end up leaving things to.
But even I mentioned to him about buying a business, because it seems like the company that he left, they want him back. and he's working 2 jobs
Mm-hmm.
plus on the side for people, working, fixing their cars and stuff. So, I said, did you ever think about buying a business? Since one business keeps bringing him back.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they want him. He got laid off because of the COVID, but they're bringing him back. So, and plus he's been working on another job constantly. So he works like double shifts all the time,
Yeah.
and that's what he wants to do. So I'm trying to help him as well as help myself, to see, what's going on out there in the future for that industry that he wants to be in.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my enhancement as far as getting him to get involved in what's going on for the future in the car industry.
Okay. And, so one of the things that I want to do within this network is to have a way for us to start sourcing companies that we can buy. We get 10,000, 20,000 people, and all of us have our ears and eyes open, and we begin to see deals, we begin to see opportunity, we bring it back to the community. We never know what we're able to pick up, for really good rates, like a lot of people do with real estate and things like that. So the other thing I would say is, like I said with Raphael, maybe he doesn't want to be a business owner. That is not everyone's path. But if he is passionate about what he's doing and he can offer some industry information, if he's been in management and things like that, there may be an opportunity for him to do some consulting, in the field. But that auto repair, that's huge. That is huge. So, and Latrice is saying, yes, make a gas station with some electric chargers as well. So, yeah. Anything else, Maria?
No, that's it. But thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. So, Awana is saying pharmacies. That's possible. I don't know a lot about what's happening in the pharmaceutical industry in terms of pharmacies themselves, but yeah, I think that anything is possible. We look at the trends. We see where things are headed in the next 15 to 20 years. We mentioned assisted living last night. We didn't mention it tonight, but assisted living is going to be huge for many years to come. Latrice is saying law firms would be beneficial too. Now you start getting into the different types of law as well. So, is it corporate law? Is it bankruptcy? Is it criminal? Is it divorce? My mother was a huge Perry Mason fan. Put a 3 in the chat if you know who Perry Mason is. Put a 3 in the chat if you know who Perry Mason is. So I see some people saying 3s. Yes, my mother was a huge Perry Mason fan, and she loved Della Street. She always wanted to be Della Street, the Black Della Street, right? So when I got out of college, she was really trying to push me to become a lawyer, and I just didn't feel like it. I was like, no, that's not my path. But I always said if I was going to be a lawyer, I would be a divorce lawyer, because when you need me, you need me. I wanted to be in a part of law where no matter what, if somebody needed me, they they would need me. So, and I didn't want to do criminal. But I think for law, bankruptcy is another big one. I met a bankruptcy lawyer that they make a lot of money. And the interesting thing about bankruptcy lawyers is they set up their businesses where they don't invoice people. You have to pay all of your money up front to get their service. Yeah. So does anybody else have any other ideas or things like that before we end our evening talking about the Rothschilds and enhancement loans and things like that. Going once. So tell me one thing you learned from the 2 sessions we've had last week and this week. Tell me one thing you've learned. Put it in the chat for me, please. Something you've learned. I know for me, the big thing that I am going to take with me is the Rothschild information, and also the information about thinking about the family mission statements as well, and how to sit down with your family. And this was in session 1 that we talked about this, and how to approach creating the family mission statement. It's a really big thing. Felicia's saying to get your family involved so that we can all grow. Perfect. Tammy's saying the importance of having a plan. Joy is saying, exciting to know that family is more than money. I'm learning that human and intellectual plays a crucial part. Love it. Latrice is saying how you can lay down the guidelines for a personal loan if you're blessed enough to know people who are willing to do that. Yeah. So this is where you start networking. Network before you need it. Network before you need it. So if you're thinking that you want to make some big moves in the next 5 years, my suggestion is start networking now, start getting to know people. So Angela's saying more just like motivated to get started. So great, Angela. So I'm going to leave everyone with this. So I've been in business a long time, and now I have a huge network that I'm able to, go to for various things that I need, but it wasn't always that way. I found the best way to do networking is this. Find 2 organizations that you can join. One organization can be a Black organization, and then the other one needs to be like general non-Black. Sometimes if you're a woman and you want to join a 3rd organization that's just women, you can do that as well. But you want to have both sides of the coin. And then when you join that organization, join a committee. Because when you join a committee, then you get to really know people and you get involved with the organization. People get to know you, they get to see your work ethic, etc. So when Kim was talking, I could tell that these people knew her well, and they knew her work ethic, and they knew that she was going to do whatever she said she was going to do to make this business a success. So you need a runway in order to do that. And that's one of the things that we fail to do as people. Is to build enough of a relationship with people over time so that when we're ready to make a move, people are like, oh, yeah, of course. Angela, yes, of course. I've been watching you do your thing for 5 years. I'm in, right? So 2 organizations, one can be Black, one general, non-Black, or, and a 3rd one potentially if you're a woman. You could consider an industry organization, et cetera. And then number 2 is join a committee and become involved. And that's how you can start building your network, because people will get to know you. Okay. All righty then. Well, it's been an hour. So I want to thank you for being a part of our sessions. And we will see you on Friday if you are coming to the session about intellectual property. Okay? Bye, everybody.